Your bank account became a FedNow account. 1. Hook overview. In 2023, many banks sent letters explaining updates to their payment systems. Some people worried these changes meant their accounts were moved directly onto a government-controlled system. So what does that actually mean? It means people saw a major update and wondered if their money now flows differently than before. This report explains what FedNow really is and what actually changed. Footnote. This section introduces the confusion around bank letters and FedNow. 2. What FedNow really is. FedNow is a payment service created by the Federal Reserve to let banks send money to each other instantly. It does not replace your bank account. It does not replace the automated clearinghouse system. It simply gives banks another option for faster payments. Your money still stays inside your private bank account, not at the Federal Reserve. Footnote. This section explains the basic purpose of FedNow. 3. What banks told customers. Banks sent letters saying things like account numbers, deposits, and debit cards would stay the same. These letters were routine notices explaining system upgrades. The part many people misunderstood was that banks were adopting FedNow as an additional payment option, not replacing their entire system with federal control. Footnote. This section explains why bank notices sounded simple but caused confusion. 4. Does FedNow give the government access to your spending? No. FedNow processes payments between banks, not between citizens and the Federal Reserve. Your bank still holds your account and your information. So what does that actually mean? It means your privacy rules stay exactly the same because your bank continues to manage your account, your data, and your transactions. Footnote. This section clarifies that FedNow does not give new surveillance powers. 5. The difference between FedNow and CBDC. FedNow is not a central bank digital currency. It does not replace cash. It is only a payment rail, similar to how Zelle or Venmo moves money, except it works between banks. A digital currency would require its own laws, public debate, and government approval, none of which has happened. Footnote. This section explains that FedNow and CBDC are different concepts. 6. Why FedNow was created. FedNow was built because many older systems only processed transfers during business hours. People wanted faster payments for things like bills and paychecks. The Federal Reserve designed FedNow to solve delays, not to change who controls your money. Footnote. This section identifies the real reason FedNow was built. 7. What stayed the same after FedNow? Your account remains at your private bank. Your bank still protects your data under privacy laws. Your transactions still require legal procedures for government access. So what does that actually mean? It means nothing about ownership, control, or access changed when your bank adopted FedNow. Footnote. This section lists what did not change. 8. Why some people became worried. Fast payment systems can feel unfamiliar, and technical letters can sound alarming. Problem, empathy, action. The problem is confusion from complicated language. Many people felt unsure about what FedNow means. The action is to understand how payment rails work so updates feel less mysterious. Footnote. This section explains why misunderstanding spread. 9. What FedNow cannot do. FedNow cannot monitor your purchases. FedNow cannot freeze accounts automatically. FedNow cannot replace cash or private banks. FedNow cannot act as a digital currency. It is simply a tool banks use to move money faster. Footnote. This section shows the limits of FedNow. 10. The real impact on everyday people. For most people, the only visible change is faster transfers. Paychecks arrive sooner. Bill payments clear quicker. Banks still control your account, not the Federal Reserve. So what does that actually mean? It means your everyday banking life continues normally, just with more convenience. Footnote. This section summarizes the true effect of FedNow.